Babooey.
Okay.
And we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gravity Max live stream with our webcams. And today we have Brendan, Yui Films.
First time. I'm excited to try it.
Mr. Mohawk here.
Yeah.
Go check out that video if you're interested in seeing.
It's actually, I milked it twice. So I got a video out of cutting it, and I also got a video out of dyeing it.
I see.
And I'm hoping to get a third out of it. I don't know if I'll be able to.
What else are you gonna do? Like take a shower?
Actually cut it.
Stream
Like,
that?
I'm gonna trim it,
okay.
and then I'm gonna not cut it. I'm gonna actually dye it.
Okay.
So like a fun color. I don't know what color.
I realize that people can see my Darkiplier poster in the back. Whether I get judged for it or not, I will accept my fate.
Uh-huh.
I have the live stream up on my desktop.
Yeah.
As well as the slides, so I'll be looking up over there for most of it, unless someone's like talking.
Yeah. Let's see. So, hello everyone. How are you all doing? I hope that
I'm doing great.
Thanks. Cool. I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Hey, I'm actually. Now that you mention it, I'm doing pretty well too.
You're doing pretty well. Yo, how's quarantine treating you?
Yeah, it's pretty good. And that's actually what our
But
our
how do
topic
you
is
think it
about.
affects you?
How does it affect me?
In the isolation aspect.
I feel like I've actually fallen behind because I have more time. I feel like I have less
poster.
I have less motivation.
Yeah, I can see that to a certain extent. I've been feeling that too, with the motivation. But yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about isolation, and that is something that everyone's
With this great thumbnail that
I
whipped up. Took me a half an hour.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, everyone's been dealing with isolation right now, unless they're an essential worker or the people that are on the Florida beaches. So, but most people, responsible citizens, have been feeling isolated lately. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how that affects human psychology and the human mind. And there are also some physical aspects, and we are also going to talk about cases of isolation that have occurred in the past and cases that might occur in the future, and just interesting things like that. So before we get into that, we got to do some plugs. So let's just start. All right. So this video is not intended for children under 13 years old. Let's see if I can do this from memory. Okay. Okay. If you are under 13, okay.
Steve, we don't want you.
Somehow it doesn't fit into my brain. It just, even though I've read it every week, this is weird. If you are under 13 years old, please do not watch this video, as the topics we discuss are meant for those with at least a high school level of education. If you are not 13, you will not understand the scientific topics discussed in this video. It's strange that I haven't memorized that, but I haven't made any intentional efforts to memorize that. It's just I've been reading it, which you would think would make you memorize it, but I guess not, just because I've been reading it so fast. But yeah, okay. So this is the Gravity Max website, and follow Gravity Max on social media. We've been, and links in the description, we've been posting memes from 100 years in the future, and I think they've been pretty good, pretty funny.
They're pretty spicy.
Popping.
Yeah, we've had 3 so far, and we plan to continue doing that kind of daily, maybe. So yeah, that's
Have we made today's or no?
We can make today's the one from the live stream.
I see.
Yeah. So, because we have one at the end of this live stream too, like we had last time. So yeah, go check that out if you want to be entertained once a day for 15 seconds, right? So
the best part is they're relevant for over 100 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So also follow Sebastian on social media at Karl Marxman, and on YouTube at 128 seconds. Great YouTube channel. Pretty fun.
No comment.
Description, of course. And also check out Yui Film.
You had a pretty large comment in the form of a diss track.
Yeah, check out Brendan's channel. His link is in the description too. I am pretty sure. Let me check. Good. Okay. There. I don't want to make sure I'm accidentally leaving that out. So yeah, check that out. Everything's in the description. Also, A Truly Dead Rock is and has been available on Amazon and forever will be as long as Amazon exists.
Great book. Would recommend.
Great book. Are we gonna have like a 1 year celebration of A Truly Dead Rock?
1 year. Maybe I'll do a 1 year sale.
Ooh.
A 1 year sale?
Anniversary sale. But the 1 year will be hot on the coattails of my next book because I'm going to publish that November 1st. And I published this Thanksgiving. So,
That's a bro moment.
First book hype. Second book hype through November.
I don't get it. I don't know how he does it.
And then Thanksgiving to like Christmas or whatever, we'll have a anniversary sale. That's what we'll do. But yeah, go buy the book. I mean,
Max demands you buy the book.
We're not requesting you buy the book here.
I want you to buy the book.
You will buy the book.
If you value 300
life.
If you're not a communist,
if you value,
you're gonna buy the book.
If you value 312 pages of sci-fi from a first-time author more than you value $15.99 or like $4.99, $5.99 if you like Kindles, then you might as well just buy it. You know?
And really, what are you doing? If you don't like new authors, if you don't want to support Max, we get it. We really do.
Yeah. So, okay. So then...
I thought there was going to be a but to that.
No. Just, we will take note.
You know whether or not you want to buy the book.
Oh, we have chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my family's watching. My mother and my brother. I think my dad's working right now, but we've got. Okay, Barry Rudin says, "Hi, Sebastian and Brendan."
Hi, Barry.
And Brendan's new hair, and good to see you also, Gravity Max. Yeah. Yeah, thanks.
She could just walk up the stairs to see Gravity Max, but I guess.
Like the whole family's been hanging out all day, but
yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mom. Okay, so that's okay. So then we also have a plug that isn't like a plug slide yet because we kind of just came up with it. On Friday, so that's this Friday. That's 5 days from now, May 1st. Oh yes, of course, May 1st. We are going to do a review of a TV show. And I think it's going to be fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a watch along here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as always. We're always in Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, it's going to be at 7 p.m. And the show is called Upload. And you might have seen a few of these trailers on in front of YouTube videos or maybe on just standard television. Like I saw one on CBS, you know. So it's like an Amazon original TV show. And I think it has a pretty fascinating premise. So the premise is that this guy gets uploaded into a digital afterlife. So they've got mind uploading. And that's a topic that we've talked about this before on stream. It's technological immortality, right? But this show is a sci-fi comedy. So I'm sure that it's not going to have the most insightful comments on this topic. However, it's the first mainstream piece of media that I can think of right now that is actually covering this topic, because of course it's been covered in sci-fi before, but not everyone reads sci-fi. But this show, which is going to be premiering May 1st, so we'll have that first day scoop, right?
You got to get the algorithm.
Yeah, the algorithm.
Yeah.
So Amazon is pushing this, this is Amazon original we've just made. Here we're paying for ads for it, you know. That's pretty big. So I think it's fascinating. We're going to talk about, you know, what the show gets right, what maybe it gets wrong, what it omits, and why we think it does that. Like how this show has like tried to make this topic like palatable to the mainstream, and the fact that it's like a new thing for mainstream viewers. We're going to talk about all that, and I think it's going to be fascinating. So yeah, if you want to watch our watch along live, that is Friday at 7 p.m. And once we've watched through the whole season in like a few weeks, you know, it'll be a few live streams. We'll make like official review videos that we can hit both live stream and like standard video viewers. So I think that will be pretty cool. So yeah, okay, before we get started, we have more comments from Barry Rudin. We have, the book was pretty mind-blowing. Anyone not reading it is missing out. And lol, well, I didn't want to leave him out when I said hi to you too. Okay, Mom, out of you, chat, but have fun. D and I are watching. That's Daniel. That's my brother. Okay, so yeah, let's get started.
Let's go. Isolation. It's when, you can pull up the actual definition, but it's when you don't see other people. It's when you're kept apart, sometimes in a box, away from everyone else, from society. Does that remind you of anything? It should.
It's not
because
really
you should
ringing
be
a bell for
quarantining.
me, actually.
Isolation, noun. The process or fact of isolating or being isolated. Thank you.
Wait, no way.
Legend. Legend.
I love when like a dictionary definition is like smug with you and is like the act of being isolated, and then you look up isolating and it says when someone goes through isolation. I want to publish
Like,
a dictionary that's entirely
The
definition of moron, see idiot. Idiot, see moron.
right. Yeah, like stupid that, just self-looping. I mean,
That's
technically
actually so funny.
It is.
all definitions are like self-looping, because even a definition of like run, like the action of using your legs to move fast, if you don't know what any of those words mean and then you like look up the definition, like yeah. But anyways, that's just, you know what isolation means. We don't need unhelpful Google to be unhelpful with their definition. So yeah, a lot of people have been isolated recently at their homes, in their homes, me included. I kind of enjoy it, actually, personally.
He's been doing it since before the plague.
I kind of like getting my work done at home. I have, a lot of personal projects. I've got my books. I've got this YouTube channel, and now we've got online work and stuff too. So yeah, I've been doing pretty well with this. However, I know that many other people have been like not going crazy, but like they self-proclaim that they've been going crazy. They're like, I can't take this anymore. This is too much isolation. So yeah, so we're going to talk about that and how people respond to isolation usually. Yeah, let's
hop right into it.
Let's just jump into it.
Of course, right.
Yeah, thanks, Phil.
Jump into it.
So let's look at the effects that isolation can have.
Yeah, so the effects of isolation here isn't just like your standard isolation like we're doing right now. This is like crazy extreme isolation. Some of these instances have been like people locked in a dark room with no one. Other instances, they've been locked in a light room, just with a constant light blaring, no day-night cycle, and no other people, no clocks, just like sitting there, nothing to do.
And you can't sleep to skip the night either.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly, right. So, yeah, while this isolation might be making a lot of people like anxious and stir crazy, it could be a lot worse because, we still have stuff to do. We have the whole internet. Imagine if this was, like 1920 instead of 2020, and like you had to like go to the bookstore and buy books instead of just buying them on Amazon.
What's a book?
And if you wanted to write or like get anything done, you would have to write it on a piece of paper. And if you wanted to like like learn something, you would have to go to the library to find it out, like get an encyclopedia. Yeah, we've come a long way, and it could be a lot worse. So, so let's talk about the effects of very extreme isolation. Okay, so first we start with sleep cycle damage.
It looks like moon rooms. You know that?
Explain what this is, Max. Tell the viewers what this is.
Yeah, this is an image of just kind of like my personal, like, what I have been doing calendar chart thing, where I've just been logging like productivity. Because if you're not careful, you can end up getting lost for hours just like procrastinating and watching like YouTube videos, which in this one instance I would recommend doing. There are a few exceptions, but in general, it's not a good idea to just spend all your time watching YouTube.
Watch my YouTube videos.
Yeah, and usually when I've been in physical school, I would always go to bed at 9 p.m. and then wake up at 6 a.m. I would do that every day, and it would be very standard. And this thing would just look like a wall of just, black, just like black cells here, because this is a spreadsheet. But if you look at this, it's pretty chaotic. You've got a few days, like just look at that. No standardization.
I like the third to last one.
Okay. So what happens is sometimes I just cannot sleep. So I try to go to sleep, and then like 2 hours later, I'm like, okay, this is not working. I'm not like, there's no point to this. I am sitting here bored, and I am not getting anything done, and it's stupid. So I'm going to like get up and do some work. And then I get up and do some work. But then, I crash and I'm tired all day. So yeah, just the
like the split second you were awake during that one.
It's 5 minutes.
Yeah, just
you woke up, logged it, and went back to sleep.
Exactly.
I woke up, checked my email, then went back to sleep, because this was a Wednesday. So I was like, I had virtual school stuff, so I was like, okay, let me make sure I'm not gonna sleep through a class. So yeah, that's what I did. But yeah, I'm gonna be trying to like standardize this more. I'm gonna try and go to bed at midnight every day, and then wake up at 9 a.m.
But a lot of people have said that their sleep cycles are like screwed up now because of like quarantine and stuff, and I think that's kind of true for me. I've definitely been staying up later because I can wake up later, But other than that, I think I've stayed pretty on track with getting like 7 hours, 8 hours of sleep.
That's good.
I mean, I've stayed pretty in line with what I had during the school year.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up a bit later. I wake up at 7. On the weekends, I sleep as long as I want, and I've been going to bed at the same times. Yeah. But like, everything just got shifted.
Yeah.
And then also sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to wake up. I set a new alarm and go back to sleep.
Yeah, like sometimes.
Have you guys been having weird dreams? Because I've been having weird dreams. I don't know. I've heard that a lot of people have started having weird dreams.
Well, I have not been having that many weird dreams. What have you been dreaming about, Seb?
Just really strange scenarios. What was my one last night? The one last night was. Did I have a dream last night? No, I had a dream the night before. That I could not stop talking in a bad British accent. That was the entire premise of the thing. And you were there, Max. It was me and you, and we were both commenting on something. Like, it was like we were doing the live episode about world building, and we had like the computer in front of us, and you're talking, and then you turn to me and you're like, so what do you think of that? And I start, and I can't stop speaking in this British accent. You're like, dude, like, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. and then I wake up.
That's hilarious. Yeah, some dreams read like the premise to like bad comedy skits.
Honestly.
Like, they'll be pushed back to the end of SNL. Like, that's what it feels like sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. You see, what happens is sometimes I try to go like and like use my standard like school sleep schedule. Like, I try to go to bed at 9, but then I just don't fall asleep. I don't know. I've always thought that I've had like a little bit of insomnia because oftentimes like people, like the average time it takes people to fall asleep is like 5 to 7 minutes apparently. And that is not true at all. That does not apply to me. It takes me like an hour usually. So yeah, but basically when someone's in isolation, their sleep cycle gets damaged because, as we've been saying, there's no obligation. Like I think the earliest Zoom class I've had would have to be like 11:30 a.m., which is incredible.
Wow.
Day. I mean, yeah, I can't think of anything that has been earlier. And the latest Zoom class would be like 4. You know.
Whoa, what? What's your school time?
Well, it's not a solid block. A lot of teachers.
You just guess.
Well, a lot of teachers have been saying like, okay, here's your work, do it.
Yeah, that's why I've had that in most of my classes, but they're not allowed to do a call until like after school.
Oh,
They have to do it within their class period.
No,
Sleep deprivation.
It's a little bit free for all.
A little tired there.
A little tired, you know. Maybe I'm having some sleep cycle damage.
Hey, maybe.
Yeah, well, in Florida, they're not as organized.
They don't care.
I also want to point out, looking when I first saw this sleep cycle thing, I didn't realize that those 5 columns were category things. So I thought for like 5 days you didn't sleep at all and did everything.
Those are like time metrics. So that when you get in, I'm like, okay, that was 3 o'clock to.
I was like, wow, he just did not sleep that day.
Yeah, no. Yeah. But no, yeah. Yeah, in Florida, it's just a little less organized than Connecticut. So the teachers, it's kind of like the school said, like, do what you want, but like also make sure you have like assignments and stuff. So each teacher is doing it a bit differently, but they're all having assignments and grading assignments. So it's kind of like just get the job done. We don't care how you do it. Which, like, you know, that works well in some instances and not in others. But yeah, what it means is since I have very little time that I specifically need to be awake for, it causes the sleep cycle to just shift because, you know, no obligations. And this is especially worse in some isolation experiments that have been conducted where the person is either in constant darkness or just there's a constant light shining above them. And that ruins the circadian rhythm. Like, even if they were talking to people, there's a reason that it's hard to fall asleep in a light room. That's because our circadian rhythms naturally adapt to the day-night cycle. So, you know, when it's dark out, regardless of what time it is, like that's why jet lag occurs, because you're tired and it starts draining on you because it's nighttime. So without that standard metric every 24 hours, people's sleep cycles have just like changed, just become completely irregular, not following any cycle like of any length. And yeah, so you can kind of see that happening here, except it's to a lesser extent because there are still like, you know, I live with 3 other people, you know, my family. So they are up during like certain hours, right? And so you tend to like sync with that. And also there are windows in this room. So, you know, I see the night day. And furthermore, this is interesting because this has just been a problem with society before we ever had a quarantine. And that is ever since artificial lighting. And I don't just mean like computers. I don't just mean light bulbs, like literally something as basic as a candle, right? That has extended waking hours. But this especially occurred with the invention of the light bulb. This drastically changed society because they call New York City is called the city that never sleeps. And that's because there's always a lot of lights on in New York City. If you've ever, you know, landed at like LaGuardia or JFK, even in the dead of night, it's bright.
It's like, yeah, like it's fully bright. It's kind of cool that you can see the roads though, and then like when you're flying over the Midwest, you can see like, oh, there's like a town over there.
Yeah, it does look nice. But the effect of this artificial lighting that extends greatly into the night is that it messes up our sleep cycles. So, say the sun sets at 7 p.m. and then you keep doing your work on your computer till like midnight. It completely messes up your body because you're seeing so much light, and that actually messes with the melatonin. For instance, melatonin like increases and ramps up production in your body as it gets darker out. So by like staring at a screen and doing work, it will cause you to have difficulty sleeping. A lot of articles say like don't use electronics like an hour before bed or something, right? And of course, it's a bit of like a boomer thing, it sounds like, but there is science behind it. It is actually true. It's not just like a myth that was made up by like old people that don't understand technology. It is actually true that more light will affect your day-night cycle. And it's actually a bit of like a life hack. They have these lamps that are specifically designed so like in the morning, it like makes it really bright out if you have to get up early in the morning. Simulates natural lighting, and so it helps you wake up. Oh yeah, we have 10 minutes.
Is that 9 minutes? Is that a 0 or a 9? I legitimately can't tell.
That's a 9.
That would be a 9.
Yeah.
We have 10 minutes left for this Zoom call. But yeah, so sleep cycle damage is probably very pervasive right now. So yeah, we all have to try and correct that. The best way to correct that is to just, no matter what, just establish a time frame. Just say midnight to 9 a.m. No excuses. Because that's why like you had such a good sleep cycle when you were going to school or going to work, because you were going to bed at the same night every night and getting up at the same time every day. So that is a natural like enforcement of the sleep cycle. So definitely to like help deal with this isolation and quarantine, try and institute some sort of schedule for your sleeping. I would say that it'll make you less tired during the day, and it's generally good.
Yeah.
All right. So next,
we have mood disorders.
Okay, I don't quite get the joke here.
Ow. This man, I'll explain it.
Please do.
All right. So, this man, I don't know what his YouTube channel is. We can throw the link in the description if we figure out who this guy is.
Okay.
He's having the time of his life. He was able to synthesize in his own house.
No way.
The mythical, the legendary,
no way.
The practically unheard of Hulk juice. Right?
No way.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
Baba booey.
He synthesizes this Hulk juice, and he's elated. This man is a top-class chemist. He knows the secret recipe. And then all of a sudden,
for the Nobel Prize, right?
Yeah, actually, he's the only nominee.
Oh, okay.
All the others just left when they saw him.
He drank his Hulk juice, and they knew there was no chance.
So then all of a sudden, his wife leaves him. And he's in the dark. He's in the darkest time of his life. And it's that shift.
Schedule.
Yeah. That shift from absolute elation, bliss, to desolate, empty, hollow, a husk of the man he used to be. If that happened, and as you can see, these were both posted 2 years ago, so they could have been posted very close to each other.
They could have.
This man may be experiencing, or may have experienced a mood disorder.
Okay.
Because he went from one point to the other point very quickly.
I think his wife took the Hulk juice and ran.
What if it's all covered?
Oh no, this is the next Silas. Oh no.
Yeah, what if No. Here we go. Here's the next Silas right here. What if it's all cover? What if his wife didn't leave him? What if
he
Hulk
ate
juice
his wife?
Is his wife? And that's why no one's ever made Hulk juice before. You need to synthesize and liquidate your partner.
Okay, so mood disorders, people that have been in isolation have been found to have like mood disorders because it's like chemical imbalance in the brain. And not just isolation, just general loneliness. That's why like loneliness, like there have been a ton of like scientific studies on this, just like people that are lonely can end up being like more depressed, more anxious, just like things like that, because it messes up with the like chemicals in your brain. Because positive social interactions like this, hanging out with my friends here, that like release and other
chums,
ye old chaps,
positive
the lads,
hormones in the brain. But without that, you don't get any of that. So you need to get gratification from other sources, like, you know, like food or like binge watching YouTube or something along those lines. And while it can like kind of replace satisfaction, it can't entirely. There's never, you know, every stimulus is different. So you can't really replace social interaction, which is why it's very important to do things like this and have Zoom calls with your friends while you're on isolation. That's not a shout out to Zoom. Really, any platform works. Some, I would say, probably a lot better than this one.
Discord is superior. No 40-minute cap or whatever it is.
Yeah, we tried Google Hangouts. However, Google Hangouts only lets you pick one person at a time, and you have to pick the person manually. It won't even do speaker view.
It does.
Google Hangouts?
It does it for when we're in class.
Oh, well, we tried it. I don't know. I tried it. We tried
it. Maybe we should have done Google Meet, because there's a difference, right?
Oh, yeah. Google Meets does that.
We can try for next time.
Okay.
Zoom is fine, because 40 minutes is a pretty long time, you know, and then we just...
Have to do a few
Is it smashing?
change outs.
It's a solid amount of time.
It is a decent amount of time.
It's longer than 128 seconds, I can tell you that.
So yeah, I would make sure that...
Sure? Wait.
But
we do the math.
It's been found that people that are isolated, like in an experiment, have become depressed or anxious, and people that are lonely, these symptoms are found too. I don't know what you guys...
Sorry to
we're
interrupt.
We're calculating. Sorry.
40 divided by 128 is actually 0.3125.
Is that how many subscribers you have?
It's just not. I'm so offended.
0.31.
0.31 million.
Never gonna come on this show again if I ever get insulted by this Hulk juice man.
You might not.
That's what happened to the Hulk juice.
We made a little jab.
Smash and drink the Hulk juice.
But guys, as we're running out of time here, let's wrap up our thoughts on this slide so that we can go to...
Yeah. Again, just comparing it to our experience, I don't think I've been having any mood swings because I'm fine, because I distract myself with like work and stuff. I did get angry at a squirrel for messing up my lawn. And my neighbors saw me yelling at a squirrel in nothing but like briefs, and I don't know.
That's an interesting story.
Oh yeah.
I've been just playing a lot of video games. I start my work at like 7, get it done at like 8:30.
Why aren't you getting better at them?
I am actually getting a lot better at them, you know. But I'm just so good at all of them, you know. Sometimes I'm so good at one thing.
Better. You just can't get better.
You just can't
hit
get
the top.
better.
Where do you go when you hit the top?
Like a lot of people say that like CS:GO matchmaking, silver one's the worst, but like, bro, silver 1. It's first. It's the first one. First place.
Sure.
I'm on top.
All right.
Yeah, I'd probably say I'm doing pretty well, but I think it's just whether some people like isolation and some don't. And of course, we do have these Zoom calls that like have with our friends. Like this isn't the only Zoom call we do. We have planning meetings and like general like calls. So yeah, make sure to do that. If you're feeling like anxious all of a sudden, or if you're like feeling really down and like unmotivated, just try to like get that contact. So yeah,
before we start the new Zoom call, we do have chat.
Oh, Jan McCarthy, 1975 says blonde, hair. You may respond to that how you would like. I will leave that one.
It's not blonde.
It's obviously towards me.
It's not blonde. It's gold. So next time you make that assumption, I will be blowing up your car in GTA.
Glad you asked.
Get it right.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna end the meeting and I'll start a new one. So yeah, let's see. Wait. I'll start a stopwatch and we can see how long it takes.
Oh yeah. Okay. Speed run,
stopwatch.
World record Zoom meeting.
Start. Oh wait, end meeting. Okay, so that was like 1:30. Oh, I don't know what Brendan's doing.
Who knows?
Actual question, you know.
Probably. I did earlier.
Thanks, dude.
What is Brendan doing?
Awesome.
Oh, this is actually not a bad camera angle. I might stay with this.
Okay, cool.
I'm just waiting for. We're gonna see someone out of your window coming from the woods.
Here we go. I changed the next slide. Hallucinations.
Yeah.
Do you like this picture?
I think I made this comment while I was looking at it earlier.
I forgot to change it. Yeah, it's a little.
When we were looking at this earlier, I said, "Are you actually going to put this up for like 30 minutes?"
Yeah. We'll change this picture. How about I have a really good idea. Format options, recolor, and let's just grayscale that bad boy. That's worse. Okay, let me just. Oh wait, I negatived it. Okay, grayscale.
Negated.
Yeah.
Wait, that actually would be the right word there.
That is true. There we go.
We also have chat.
Okay, there we go.
I barely know her.
That should be less offensive to the eyes, right?
Mm-hmm. My eyes definitely feel a lot less offended.
Yeah.
My eyes are getting offended all the time. They like see something, they read something online, and they're like, "I never." They get so upset.
Like, you're gonna be on Conquer.
Exactly.
Recently rediscovered that video, by the way.
We used that in.
Yeah.
That was fun. Okay, what, do we have chat? Okay, I think we have chat.
Yes, we do.
Oh, wow, lots of
He
chat.
doesn't like my nose? That's so offensive.
Yeah, Jan McCarthy. A modder crashed my game. Fujimoto Saichi. I don't know. Saichi, okay. What's up, neighbors? Jan McCarthy, 5. Noob, Fujimoto Saichi, Jan McCarthy, 1975. That's right. I don't like your nose, Brendan.
Like that, it's so. Can we ban him? Can we ban him from chat, please?
Spelling of Brendan. So I don't know.
I don't use hacks to get money in GTA.
Could have been directed at anybody.
One of these days, we're gonna invite Brendan on, and it's gonna be like a complete fake show. Like it's a fake topic, it's a fake everything. We make a fake presentation. He joins, and it's just a Comedy Central roast of UE films.
I would do that. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. We should do that for a video. That's a good video idea.
Yeah. Anyways, so okay, hallucinations. This comes with the more extreme forms of isolation. But if you are alone and there's like no voices,
It was a dark and stormy night.
and it's very quiet, and you don't hear anything, like you don't see anything, you'll start getting hallucinations. So when people are in the dark for a long time, it's kind of like your brain tries and fill in the gaps in the dark. That's why if you wake up at like 2 a.m. and you see like your chair across the room, it somehow looks like an axe.
Man,
It looks like a person, right? Because like you put your sweatshirt on the chair, okay, and you know it's not a person.
Yeah,
but
you look at it, you're like, and it's like,
yeah,
exactly.
Honestly.
And the same can be said about sounds. Every kind of like creak in the house, from poor structural integrity, could be a murderer or a robber.
Just downstairs in your kitchen, you hear. It can be terrifying. Have you guys ever had a hallucination? I'm genuinely interested.
I don't think
the law requires me to say no.
I have.
Joking.
Legally, I have. And I'll tell you, it was actually yesterday or the day before.
Okay.
I was right on the edge of sleep, right?
That's what I was about to say. It's probably like when you're half sleeping. And then
I was right on the edge of sleep. And I had been asleep like the night, and I woken up. It was like 4. I like scrolled through Instagram. I'm like, all right, I'm tired again, and I go back. I go back under, right on the edge of sleep, and I imagine or like see, because I thought my eyes were open, but I don't think they were. I couldn't tell you, but I saw this tapestry like in my mind's eye, and you guys know like tarot cards and stuff.
Yep.
It was a tapestry, and it was like all of the people I'd ever met in my life represented by a tarot card. And I tried to look for myself, but I couldn't find myself. And then I like came back from the edge of sleep, and I was like awake. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It's less of hallucinations and more of a inability to control my body. Where I used to do this thing where I would wake up and be like, all right, time to get ready. And then I'd go and I'd get ready. I'd go get everything, get my clothes on, brush my teeth, go downstairs. And then I'm like, wait, I just thought about doing all that. I haven't actually moved yet.
Oh,
damn.
I would believe I'm doing it, but I just wasn't doing it.
There's the exact opposite of that, actually, that a lot of people get, especially people that drive. If you drive to the same place every day and you're just sitting there like in the building, you don't remember that you drove there.
Yeah.
Even though you clearly did, even if it was like a long drive, like if you had to drive 45 minutes to get to school and you took the same route you do every day, there wasn't really any traffic and stuff, and there was nothing remarkable, you like won't even remember it,
Yeah.
So.
Mind plays tricks on us. Yeah. I couldn't say. The only thing is, it's just been like kind of like a dream, and then instantly afterwards, I'm like, okay, yeah, that was a dream.
Yeah, it was only just a dream.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a few more comments. We've got Daikaiju Productions. Music make Brendan lose control. Isolation make
Brendan lose control.
Is the chat just?
This is the roast of Huey Films. We need to organize this now.
No, you're the comic relief. Always have been ever since the periodic table of elements.
Oh my god.
Your pain is funny.
Yeah, my most successful video in like 6 months is me shaving my head.
Yeah. Anyways,
on
that topic, exactly on that topic, our next topic is boredom.
Oh yes, boredom.
The subscriber count needs to be updated.
Oh, okay, sorry.
491.
Oh, that's pretty good considering we made this presentation 2 days ago?
Yeah, that video did pretty well.
We apologize for our lack of journalistic integrity.
Yeah. But anyways, boredom, much like Huey Films' channel, is when you I don't know. What's the definition of boredom? It's when
120 seconds.
When you're bored. That would be Google's definition.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
The lack of interest.
Yeah, to have a lack of interest, I guess, in most things, or if there's just nothing to do,
Yeah.
But obviously, since we're at home, we've been at home for, I think it's we just hit a month of being inside, like over a month.
I had more than a month, yeah.
Yeah, so around a month. Boredom is a factor. I've been bored.
Mm-hmm.
Guilty. And boredom is when you have boredom, usually what you do or what you should do is you just distract yourself with like work or with like a hobby or stuff. But when you have a ton of time, sometimes you like procrastinate on your work. And that's my issue. I need to be working on my book. And I have been. I've picked it back up because I sat down with myself. I hallucinated with myself. And I was like, buddy, you slacking, right? But now I've gotten back into the flow of it, and I've had a lot less boredom. What about you, Yui Films? Why are you boring?
Well, I have rarely found myself bored during this break. You're having the time of your life.
I'm having the time of my life.
You think that joke was the greatest joke you've made in about 15 years.
I am the bee's knees.
No, but whenever I'm bored, I'm usually not really, because I just play games all day. And I'm talking to people for the entire day because I'm in Discord as soon as I finish my work.
Interesting. So sometimes when I'm doing like procrastination, like I usually watch YouTube instead of like playing video games. And so sometimes I'll find myself getting bored with what I'm doing, but then at the same time not wanting to do work.
Yeah.
We have chat. And
yeah.
I want to call out.
Just a dream.
Just a dream. Oh my god.
Yeah. So here's the thing.
That's
right?
incredible.
I would say you'd probably agree with this. Anyone that's like in virtual school, the amount of work has kind of decreased.
We're kind of coasting. We're
like
especially with pass fail. Oh my god.
It's pass fail at
well, no, you can choose for your fourth quarter to be pass fail, and all it does is if you pass, your entire final grade is just your first 3 quarters in the midterm.
Wait, really?
Yeah, that's how it's working.
Where do I sign up?
And I'm not even joking. This is actually a thing. So if you have an A in a class, there's no point. There is no reason to not go pass fail in the last quarter.
Yeah. Is it pass fail for every class or each individual?
No, you can choose which class.
Wow.
You can choose which classes you want. So if you have an 88 in a class, you don't go pass fail. You try to get a high enough score to bring that up. If you have like a 96.6 or like whatever, you're just on an A+, go pass fail.
Yeah.
That's interesting. My school isn't doing that. They're still giving grades, but what they've done is like, as long as you submit all your work, then you can't get below a 70. Like even if you do absolutely horribly, as long as you have no missing assignments, you get at least a 70. But I'm still.
So you could just write cheese for every answer.
Exactly. But a 70 would still bring down my average quite a bit for a lot of classes.
Just a little.
Yeah. So
just a tad bit.
Not reassuring. So I'm still like putting a lot of effort into the work, but the thing is, there's just not as much work. So that might be leaving a gap for a lot of people. And also, if you think about it, school kind of occupies your time, and so does work in a way that like isn't 100% with work. Like think about the 5 minutes at the beginning of class and the 5 minutes at the end of class. Not a lot of work's getting done. There's also a lot of, lunch. There's also probably a lot of time in class where like your teacher gives you like 3 days to do a group project. Like you and your group finish halfway through day 2, and then you're just kind of like messing around for the rest of the time pretending to do work, right?
Yeah.
We've all been there. So I think people are more efficient when they're doing work at home. which means that not as much time is being poured into their work, and there isn't as much work to begin with. So this is like a compounding effect to decrease the amount of work you have to do. So you have to replace this with other activities, and it can't entirely just be like, what do you call it? Like procrastinating, but not procrastinating, but like, even once you're done with all your work, you should still be working to do something else. So this is my, this like relates to me. This is some advice. This
Personal
is like
stuff.
Yeah, this is like why I write. I have a lot of like time, even when I'm at school and there wasn't a quarantine. I would always have a lot of time on my hands, and often I would just spend that time just watching YouTube videos, not being particularly productive. At least with my YouTube channel, when I'm making YouTube videos, like back in 2018, 2017, when I actually like sat down, like scripts, graphics, edited, voiceover. When I used to like make videos like that, that took quite a bit of time, and I occupied myself, and so I wouldn't be bored. I've shifted away from that now, and I'm focusing more on writing stories. So think of A Truly Dead Rock. A lot of that was like, okay, I have some free time. I could either sit on my computer and watch YouTube videos, or I could write. So that's what you gotta like ask yourself. Are you using your time wisely and in a way that makes you feel fulfilled and happy? Because while sometimes it feels like work, when you do a good job, it's pretty gratifying. And I mean, if you look at like Maslow, like the hierarchy of needs, like self-actualization is part of this. So what I would recommend is, if you find yourself watching TV or watching YouTube or like playing a video game or whatever for an hour straight, then force yourself to do something productive for at least 15 minutes. Okay?
Yeah, Brendan. It's
no, this isn't
tens of thousands of hours you have on CS.
Just
I have 400.
Okay? You ought to have got us to the moon at this point if we need to do something productive every 15 minutes.
I don't know why I can get so motivated over such pointless things.
So here's what I'm saying, right? If you've spent an hour doing nothing or practically nothing, just force yourself to do work for 15 minutes, because the tendency is, at least what I find is, I'm always like, no, I don't want to write. Like during this quarantine, I've had days where I just watch YouTube and don't want to write. Once you force yourself to write for 15 minutes, it might feel like a chore for that first 15 minutes, but then you actually get into it if it's work that you enjoy doing. So I would recommend start a personal project that you enjoy doing. Start a YouTube channel. If you are good at video editing, learn something, like make that a project. Write. I don't know, if you like to draw, like that's always great. Just make something. Be creative. Or learn something valuable. Learn a new language. And
that goes perfectly into our next topic.
Learning a new language is...
about doing it. Just keep in mind, if you've been doing nothing for a while, just force yourself to do a little bit of work, and you might get hooked on doing work, and then you might actually enjoy it. So
yeah,
I've been doing.
So that's a very motivational speech.
Thank you.
And I think I needed that. That was the kick in the seat of my pants that I needed in order to, like, I have started working back up on the on Elthem, and you can look into that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's chapter 2 stuff.
Nice.
That's that illegal chapter.
Yeah.
But
unreleased.
Yeah, illegal. It's that unreleased stuff.
It's an alpha.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say that out of these, sleep cycle damage, mood disorders, hallucinations, boredom, or a lack of motivation. Lack of motivation is definitely the thing that has impacted me the most.
100%. I mean, it's just so much easier to do work in a setting where, like, you're not allowed to go on your phone. Like, when I'm doing work, I don't go on my phone that often. Just during the day, I don't really use my phone that much. But when, just the fact that I know I can, sometimes I'll be doing something. I'm like, all right, I got to write the next paragraph. Wait, let me check my phone first. And then 15 minutes later, I'm like, oh, now I got to write the paragraph.
Yeah. We got to force ourselves to be productive and be motivated. Otherwise, it gives people a reason to say, no, you have to listen to me. You know what I mean? Because I tend to be fairly self-motivated, I would say. Like, I'm not trying to brag, but like typically I would consider myself more self-motivated than the average person. I mean, I've written a book. Not a lot of people have done that. And again, not trying to brag. I'm just talking.
I'm trying to flex or anything, but I do have a book.
So I like this image too. It's a meme. I can't do it.
Quote Gravity Max, I can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's interesting because people always say, like, oh, the weekend. I'll get so much work done this weekend. Work's been piling up all week. I'm gonna get a ton of work done on the weekend. And then the weekend arrives, and then you do nothing all weekend.
I have not done a single piece of work. Dude, should I? Do I have work to do? I do. I'm not going to do it.
Do tonight at 11:59 p.m.
Yeah.
See,
so that means do it at 11:59 p.m.
True.
Yeah.
Right? It says do 11:59 p.m.
Do tomorrow. Do
tomorrow. I put that on the lab report once.
The deadline is like 2 hours. I've submitted something 2 hours before the deadline.
I have a stash of stuff on my dash for Monday.
Yeah, but basically, right, there's kind of that weekend mindset, right? But yeah, sometimes when you have a lot more time, you tend not to be as productive. Like, you can be pretty productive during the work week. You can be very productive at school and right when you come home doing homework, right? But then some reason, somehow, once you're out of that cycle, you just can't do anything. And it's very strange motivation. Like, I would like to know the psychological roots of motivation, because hypothetically, there's nothing stopping somebody from being 100% productive all the time, right? Like, I could do it. Yeah. I could be writing for like 2 hours straight. Then I could.
Well, you have to sleep and you have to eat.
I think it's like related to dopamine and stuff, because you could, but you don't enjoy doing that.
Well, I think it's just because you have to prioritize your time, I guess, because that's why some things seem like better than others. Like exactly what you're talking about, the hierarchy of needs. That's why there are different dopamine levels at each of those hierarchies, because we're used to not having that much time to do stuff. So that's why we have incentive to like eat and sleep over stuff like build a nuclear fusion reactor in my garage for my Boy Scouts program, you know.
Imagine trying to build something like that.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
What was that guy's name?
Max.
I swear. Yeah, Max. Yeah.
No. That was that was an actual news story.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was and this kid is gonna be a super villain. Like
anyways, but yeah, so motivation. But what I mean though, right, is
David. Like, yeah, David Hahn.
You could keep yourself from doing unproductive things, hypothetically. But I don't know, it's some weird like imperative in the human mind. But like, if I were able to be 100% productive, I would probably be able to like write a new book every month. You know what I mean?
Okay, well,
maybe every 2 months. Just think of how much time we waste. I mean, I have it logged in a spreadsheet. I could tally it up. I could tally up and give you the lump sum of how much time I waste. Okay. It would be a lot higher than I would like to admit, I think. So
they based Ultron off of you, didn't they?
Well, I don't know, right? It's weird. Motivation, like, I would like to find out the psychological pathways, you know, right? Like, it's such a weird subject. Like, how does that work? Mm-hmm. But anyways, for some reason, when we have more time, we get less motivated. So I don't know how to solve that. I mean, even I, the great Max Rudin.
The great.
Even I,
the famed gravity Max.
Yeah, exactly. The famous, I have 577.
He does. He's a celebrity.
Yeah, exactly.
How many subs do you need for you to be considered a celebrity?
I would say 100,000.
Sorry, wait. How many does Seb have?
28.
29.
Someone sub to me during this live stream so I can. So no, I'm saying I want someone to sub to me during this live stream.
Well, yeah. So this is kind of related to the boredom stuff. It's like it kind of fits both things, right? If you don't want to be bored, then have a personal project. And if you want to be motivated to do a personal project, you just have to be able to like be your own like dictator. You know, you have to force yourself every hour to like if you're not working for an hour, you got to force yourself to just 15 minutes of work. That's all you have to say to yourself. I will work for 15 minutes, then I will go back to like binge watching a TV show or whatever.
That'd be a good experiment to see if that would work, you know?
Yeah, and you know, sometimes you might get like into working, other times maybe not. Either way, you've won 15 minutes of work out of the situation, you know?
There you go.
So that's a good idea. Yeah, I would say like in previous weeks I've been fairly unproductive, but as we enter May, I want to.
I've only written half a book.
Yeah.
I've written no book.
I've written no book. No.
Of a book.
Bubble book.
I want to try and be more productive. That is my constant struggle.
More efficiency.
Yeah, it's more
power.
I want that. It's data, not like it's what was it? Knowledge not written is knowledge lost. That's
there you go. Yep.
Sebastian came up with that.
Data, not data.
Like family crest in Latin. It sounds pretty cool. I might make it the Gravity Max banner at some point. Because I take data on anything I can take data on. That's not particularly helpful to motivation. I don't think that's not a suggestion. That's just something I like to do. I take data on anything that I can, but I would suggest this 1 hour, 15-minute trick, life hack. I don't know. I can be a motivational speaker.
He could
go around to random high schools and be like, the path to success. And just kind of ramble for.
I'm getting paid $150 for this.
The path to success is to become a motivational speaker for high schools and upcharge extremely with an aggressive social media campaign to make yourself out to be more than you actually are. Yeah.
He's got a point.
Man's got a point.
He's got a point.
But yeah, I have been like, I think something that will help you with motivation is set deadlines for yourself. That's a good thing. Like, I have this Gravity Max live stream deadline every week at like Sunday at 5 p.m. We need to have a show together. And it does it takes maybe an hour, 2 hours to like get the slides ready, like do a little bit of research for some of the parts. But like, it's good to have those deadlines. So even on things where you don't have deadlines, force yourself to make deadlines. And you know what? Some people, like, you can't be accountable to yourself, right? Like, some people have struggles with that. So, like, it might sound weird and you might feel like, oh, I'm so cringy for doing this. But, like, tell your friend, like, hey, I want to write 10 pages of a novel this week, okay? So at the end of the week, I need you to call me and, like, make sure I've done 10 pages. Or, like, I'll share it with you so that, like, you can read it if you want to. And, like, drill me. Make sure I have 10 minutes. So...
Can you do that for me, Max?
Sure.
There we go. Now I'll be productive.
We can discuss some, like, deadline.
What's your goal?
Yeah.
What's the deadline? Say it on stream.
All right. It'll probably be weekly, something weekly. Like, let's say...
weekly thing for my books.
Yeah, 10 pages. 10 pages weekly should keep me on schedule.
You should update it every stream.
Yeah. And if I don't do it, I will delete a video off my channel.
If you don't do it, you have to do 15 push-ups. No, 20 at the start of the stream.
That's not even difficult though. You know, I have gains.
That's not a punishment.
That's not even difficult. I'll do 128.
Do it right now.
How about that?
Do it right now. I'm not joking. Do it.
Okay. Anyway,
I just have a lack of motivation.
I don't think you can.
So, what do you guys think? Anything else on this subject on lack of motivation?
I think Sebastian has a lack of motivation in doing those.
I think I have a motivation to kick your ass.
Anyways, I don't know. I think that's, unless you guys have anything, that's
Let's head on to the experiments. These are fascinating, actually. These are, I just pressed down on my laptop, even though the slides are on my desktop. But these experiments, some of them you know about, some of them you don't know about. Fascinating nonetheless.
That is usually how things work.
You either know or don't know about them.
Yeah. It's like that. I saw this meme where it was like, these 2 books contain all knowledge known. And it was like, what they teach you at Harvard, what they don't teach you at
what they teach you at Harvard Law School, what they don't teach you at Harvard Law School, these 2 books contain the sum total of human knowledge. I mean, it is true. They should. But anyway, so these experiments are experiments that people have done. One of them is ongoing. These are interesting experiments. So yeah, let's just take a look. We start with
Mr. Rich Alati.
Yeah.
That first picture is SCP has breached containment.
SCP has breached containment. Oh, we're 10 minutes. Okay.
10-minute warning.
Okay. Oh shoot. I accidentally hit the upgrade button. I'm not going to purchase Zoom. Sorry about that.
I do not subscribe to the idea of purchasing Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
Hang on.
There he is, officer.
I'll be back in like 10 seconds.
Okay. Anyways, Rich Alati was like a poker player. And so he made this bet where he said, like, if I can stay in isolation, in total darkness for 30 days, then like you'll give me $100,000, like you negotiated with someone.
$100,000. Whoa, hang on. What? I want $100,000.
Oh, you just missed it. He's giving everyone that was there to hear him $100,000. So sorry.
No, he's a poker
Sebastian's
player.
net worth is going to be $50K.
Anyway, he's a poker player, and
can't even negate that. I am deeply in debt.
Brendan, he basically accepted an offer to stay in complete isolation for 30 days, total darkness, nothing to do, and he would get $100,000 if he successfully completed it. He made it 20 days, and he negotiated to get $62,000. So I would say he's the winner here.
He is, yeah. I would attempt that.
Yeah. I would attempt that, totally. I would totally attempt that. That sounds so fun. So, he stayed 20 days in isolation, and it was completely dark. So his sleep cycle damaged, hallucinations present.
You betcha.
You betcha.
We got him.
You want him? We got him.
You want him? You don't? Still got him.
Yeah, exactly. Boredom, probably. A lack of motivation. He quit on day 20. I mean, he's
quitter.
Quitter. But this is kind of, it's emblematic of all the problems with isolation. Yeah. But the thing is with this experiment, is that he didn't have anything to do, whereas we have a lot to do, and we have light, we have technology. So
we have technology.
So this was an interesting experiment. Would you guys do it for I would do it for
100K? Yeah, that's like,
I don't know why.
That's like an entire round of movie theater snacks.
Exactly.
It's for all of us. It's on me, guys. After that, IRS.
That's like you could buy a house in like Idaho with that.
Yeah.
I could buy Idaho with that.
Someone tried to sell Oklahoma on eBay.
Bought it.
Someone listed New Zealand on eBay, and it went up to $2 million before they took it down.
Oh my gosh! Someone I heard the story.
It's just Vladimir Putin sitting behind his computer. He's like, "Come on, who keeps outbidding me?"
Jeff Bezos.
Comes on in, sitting there like.
Yeah, I heard that some kid got in trouble for trying to sell his school on eBay.
Did he do it?
Well, I mean,
the new owner just walks. Jack Black. I feel like Jack Black would have bought that school, and he just walks in and he's like,
"School's out. You're done.
Show me to the dean's office." And he just has a guitar because he always has a guitar.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Saxophone.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think of this guy?
I think
he made out like a madman.
Yeah,
he got 62K out of 20 days of doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there are similar things like NASA will pay you to lay in bed all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on a second. Could you send me some details on that after the stream?
The bed is on a 6-degree like backwards incline. So
deal breaker.
Deal breaker 6
Deal
degrees.
breaker. Has to be at least over 10 degrees.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, it's supposed to simulate.
My man sleeps at 180-degree angle straight up.
Stand.
He does a headstand as he sleeps.
Basically, NASA will pay you to just lay in bed because they want to know what happens to like bones and muscles in zero gravity. And while they do have astronauts on the ISS, that's not like a bulk experiment they can run. And so a fairly similar thing on Earth that they can run in mass quantities is just having people laying down in bed.
Yeah. But
I don't know. So yeah, if you guys complete layabouts, if you guys don't like doing work, I mean, there are ways to make money off of that. You can make a sensationalist bet like this guy, make national news or something. I don't know if it made national news. Or you can sign up with NASA, some sort of research institution. Or, you can be like a Twitch streamer.
Yeah, I was about to say you can make a YouTube channel.
Yeah. There are many pathways to make money without doing anything. So, yeah. That's the lesson. This guy's an inspiration.
Speaking of YouTube channels.
Oh, yes. Our favorite, Michael Stevens.
I was going to bring this up.
Yeah.
I watched this. It was great. I loved the episodes.
What a legend. This is season 1, episode 1 of Mind Field. You can find it on...
That's the first episode?
Yeah, it's the first one.
I forgot how just like... The train experiment one was really cool.
I love that one.
That one was really good.
And they're like, this is unethical.
Yeah.
All right. Like, okay. No, Vsauce is a great YouTube channel. Mindfield, it was like a YouTube Red thing, but I don't know how well YouTube Red is panning out. So they just made it public. So you can go watch it without subscribing to YouTube Red.
We're going to get put in a secret part of the algorithm that just gets put everywhere just because you said YouTube Red. They're like, he knows, he remembers. They remember.
Remember. Red. We're probably going to get a ton of views now. We got Daikaiju Productions says, you can have drugs tested on you for thousands if you don't want to work. That's true too. So Michael
legally as well.
Exactly. So what he did for his show for the debut of his YouTube show is he constructed this little room, like 10 feet by 10 feet by 10 feet, like a cube. Everything in there is like white, like it's like an insane asylum room. And he's like, okay, I'm going to stay in here for 3 days, no clocks, right? The light is always going to be on, and he's going to have nothing to do. He's just going to sit there for 3 days, right? And so, yeah. Are you doing anything for me?
Yeah, continue.
Okay. So he stayed in here for 3 days, and it's like to test out the experiment to see what would happen.
Continue.
So after about 2 days inside of this chamber, he was like, "Is it done?" And they were like, "No." but they didn't say that. Just nothing happened. He had no contact with anyone, which is the crazy part of this. He tried to like occupy himself with just like counting to 100, doing workouts, just random things like that. Sleep cycle totally damaged. Like he went to bed at like really early, and then like woke up really early one day, and so he was counting the days by like waking up.
It was really interesting to see how he slowly got further and further off of time. Yeah. And then it was like, okay, he's a few hours off. And then he, at like 12 in the afternoon, he slept. And he, like that one knocked him off. He thought he was a day further than he was.
Yeah. It was, really interesting experiment. I would highly recommend watching that. But it's not like Vsauce with millions of subscribers. Need a shout out from Gravity Max, right? So this is more a suggestion, if you want something fascinating to watch. But yeah, it was a pretty good video. I don't know. The results, he was like...
He really was like Baba Booey.
He was not like afterwards. Oh, we're on less than a minute here. We'll just restart and we'll keep talking.
All right.
I'm going to get the timer up.
All right, speed run this. World record.
Yeah, okay. We got to get under like a minute 30 this time. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Baba Booey.
Sorry, sound a word with the stream there. I thought I was alone. As I've always said, you could take a tiger out of the jungle.
But you can't.
Hey, what's up? Okay.
You can't teach a jungle to a tiger.
New tricks.
Yeah, we had similar time, a bit slower at the time though, because of me. So yeah. Okay. Anyways, Michael Stevens. So yeah, I like this video. I watched this video when I was sick with the flu about a month ago, or 2 months ago actually. I've been losing track of time. Like late February, I got the flu.
The flu.
Yeah. Flu sucks. I hate it.
He was patient zero.
No, my
in February. Many months.
Symptoms, not COVID symptoms. Okay. So don't worry.
All I'm saying.
I didn't have.
Don't they keep laying on new symptoms? Like, isn't there one where your toes turn like black or something now because of the COVID? Right? Like something like that.
I don't know.
Like they get discolored.
Someone whose toes do that.
Dude, I don't know. All I know is that I had the flu and I felt really sick. I didn't like having.
How did your toes look?
Do you have any pictures of your toes?
that you would like to share with
could you send them?
The audience?
I don't think need to see that. Anyways,
everyone in chat, type feet if you want to see Gravity Max's toes right now.
Okay.
No, he's back. He's back. Check chat. Check chat. He's back.
It's got.
He's back.
Who?
He says A.
He said H last time, right?
He said H. So last
We have
time.
H. I'm gonna start writing this down.
Is he laughing at us?
No, it's got to be part. It's got to be part of a bigger message.
Halogen, hadron. I can only think of science words. It's probably something.
He goes to hadron. He went from HA to hadron.
H. A.
Happy birthday.
Okay, well, dude, stop it.
H.A.
Yeah, I'm
Hawaii.
glad it was.
Oh no, Hawaii's H.I. right? Or is it H.A.?
H.I. Well, it's the abbreviation is H.I., but it could be the start to the word Hawaii. But yeah, so Michael Stevens, he completely lost his sense of time.
Mind.
Yeah, his mind. I see jokes in the comments of his videos where people are like, Michael's not the same after the isolation chamber. And
that's pretty humorous. Probably because YouTube got him in a contract that didn't let him post on his channel.
Ooh.
Not saying that's what happened, but he stopped posting.
I know. I really liked original Vsauce content.
Well, he started reposting on Ding, not Dong, Ding.
Because their channel is too inappropriate.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's not the topic right now. The topic is what happened. So, well, yeah, that's pretty much the story. He lost his sense of time, sleep cycle damage. He had weird dreams and he sleptwalked at one point where he was he opened the door and it was crazy. So yeah. We're in complete isolation. It's not good. It's not good to be in isolation. So thankfully, this is a less extreme form of isolation that we're all experiencing right now. So we can kind of look at these experiments and appreciate that things aren't this bad, right? So yeah, all right. Let's go to the next one. Mars 500. That looks pretty dope. That looks like a modern apartment.
That does look pretty sick. I'm assuming it's an isolation chamber.
Man got the Wii Fit.
I'm assuming this is an isolation chamber, but it's simulating what would have happened on Mars.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. This was a joint project between Europe, so the European Union, Russia, I don't know, some other people, and this. So it was a 500-day isolation.
Wow,
500.
Yes, because that's what would be on Mars, but. Thankfully, these people weren't isolated alone, or maybe not thankfully, depending on if you're an introvert or an extrovert. It was a crew of 6, something that you would expect to see on a Mars mission. And they were isolated for this long time in this little experiment thing on Earth. And it was meant to simulate how it would be to have a Mars mission. And they would have a 13-minute lag time with all communication. So if they would say,
that's miserable.
If they would say hey guys at NASA, or not NASA, ESA. Hey guys at ESA or Roscosmos.
All right. Yeah, I'm sure that posed issues, but let me present you a scenario. All right, you want to play some Wii Resort online, okay? You just want to bowl. You want to do some Wii bowling, all right?
Player.
It takes 26 minutes in between each turn.
So you could perfect it.
You really could.
You could.
I'm beginning to see the advantages.
Next video, let's lock Yui Films in a cage.
Oh, is that going on my second channel?
Roll channel. Anyways, yeah. They did this experiment to simulate what it would be like to have a Mars mission. There's not I don't know about this one as much as the next one we're going to talk about, and they're kind of similar. I'm just going to talk about the next one because I know more about it. The next one is pretty much the American version of this, so that's inherently better.
Older, better.
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Older.
Boulder.
NASA's really well funded, so it could actually have been better, but not just because it's the American one.
No,
I'm just joking. But yeah, so let's talk about that. Okay, so this is called High Seas, and that's an abbreviation. And you can it was funny. I went to their website and I tried to get their online applications, right? And they're not currently open to applications because, I think they're in their like 6th mission or whatever.
I'm sorry to interrupt. There's this woodpecker. I doubt you can hear it.
I think I just heard it.
Yeah.
It terrifies me because there's no door back there, and I just hear.
Yeah.
And it just scared me so badly.
Yeah, no, I'm hearing stuff from behind me too, but we don't have woodpeckers, so I think it might be my neighbors. Yeah, hallucinations.
Yeah, so this takes place on the Mauna Loa volcano. So that is often considered to be a fairly Martian-like environment on Earth. They do a ton of experiments here where they like test out the Mars rovers because they're like, ooh, is this good? Or they try to simulate like the soil. Like the soil here, the environment is like really good for studying Mars. But basically, so they, they're in their like 6th mission or whatever. And I went to applications online, and it's hilarious. They have a Google form that you can sign up for this program via Google form.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm gonna put a picture in the thing. But yeah, they're not currently open, but I was just so happy. I got like this Google form. And I'm like, oh, I really want to like put in an application just because I think that would be funny. But alas, they're not open. But yeah, so this experiment and these continuing experiments are meant to help us with the exploration of Mars. So the first thing is that, again, they have this time delay where you have this like, delay between communications. But what they also have is, the Mauna Loa volcano environment. So not only do they have the isolation aspect, they also have the fact that, they are on the Mauna Loa volcano, which is a fairly isolated location, and it looks a lot like Mars. And I just
it's better.
I'm going to show you that
because it's on American soil.
Yeah, I know. This is Hawaii. I love Hawaii.
Hawaii.
He's an
They're
oracle.
trying to tell you they want to accept you, all right? But it's gotta be secret.
Look at that. High C members crew application. So fun.
Wait, where'd you put this? Oh, right there. Oh my god.
The fact that you could sign up for a NASA like study via Google Forms.
It fits perfectly though.
I'm like, you could just it's that easy. All you need is a Google account. You are only one Google account away from a NASA application and possible acceptance, right? Isn't that great? Inspirational quotes here.
Bro, I want NASA's Wi-Fi though. That would be one of my main reasons.
60 gigs per second.
Oh yeah,
right?
Wi-Fi.
Is that it, or is it per minute?
It's something.
Yeah, you delete GTA, then you re-download GTA in like a minute.
You download GTA, your boss comes walking towards your room, you delete GTA, boss leaves, re-download GTA.
Yep, that's the joke. But yeah, this just looks like a very pretty place, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever they go outside, they have to wear these suits, and it's like a Mars mission, but on Earth. It's pretty cool, I think. So they have to like do exercise in their like thing because like
I'm out.
They always do that on the ISS and during space missions, because during a Mars mission you would probably have to like maintain muscle mass. And yeah, they're just basically isolated for long periods of time without any other people but their crew members. And I don't know, if it's like you and the boys, that could be pretty fun. You and your friends.
Oh my god, that would be horrific.
Us and the lads trundling around on Mars.
Imagine this,
me and the boys at 3 a.m. looking for Martians.
Us, right? Then Mike and Zach, right?
Yeah.
And 5 of us.
5 of us.
5 ways on like a large 10-acre property in like the rural whatevers, and then yeah, that's the That's the
So basically what I'm hearing is a Team 5 house.
Sure.
Gravity Max group house.
Yeah, Gravity Man. Oh, wait, you mean the Jake Paul Team 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're Team 10.
Fantastic Five.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Max, out of the he's definitely Mr. Fantastic because you're actually smart. I'm the thing because that's how my parents refer to me, and I also look like him.
Well,
is he on the larger side?
When he rocks up, he is.
Oh, when he rocks up.
Again.
Yeah, yeah.
Who do you think I would be? I don't actually know any of the Fantastic Five.
Oh, you would be Invisible Woman.
I don't get the joke.
Yeah. Well, I guess you'd be the Human Torch because that's the only one left. That's not, that's a guy. Yeah, Bam, you've got the hair. Anyways.
I should set it on fire. That's
there
the fourth video.
Hey, no. For when I get 128 subscribers, I will light myself on fire for 128 seconds. No, that's not. I'm not.
I mean, but you didn't say consecutively.
True. I just.
No, because you can actually be on fire if you put oil on your hand. You can be on fire for like 3-4 seconds. I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying you could.
This man publicly told me to light myself on fire.
Yes.
My lawyer.
Funny, do it.
My lawyer is on speed dial.
My teams of lawyers will be in contact.
Well, my squadron of lawyers will be...
My fighter jet of lawyers.
My army of lawyers will
Italy
be
will be in contact.
All of Europe will be in contact.
I have Russia.
I have Mars.
Uh-oh.
I bet either of you could just, walk down your street and you'd find, a dozen lawyers.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, probably.
Not so much here. Differences. Anyways, yeah, so this is a pretty cool mission, I think.
Yeah. But next up, we have Isolation in the Future. And this is some futuristic sci-fi interpretations, and some of them are pretty accurate, of what isolation will look like in the future.
Yeah.
What's this first one? I haven't heard of it.
Oh, okay. So Elthem, it's a world far in the future, far after everyone has forgotten about Yui films, and it takes place on
and 128 seconds.
Oh.
Yeah. No, he's the grand leader.
He had some sway in the story. Yeah.
So he's the one that killed the humans.
No, the humans are alive.
The human.
Some of them are alive. Of them. Yeah, we had a war. Well, that's debatable.
Are you?
I?
You should have a character named. I'm not gonna. You should have a character named Sebastian in your story.
Sebastian Seconds.
Yeah,
because my last name is Seconds.
His last name is Seconds.
Yeah. No, my real name is on the title screen.
Oh, right, it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm used to my streams.
Yeah, but anyways, Elthem. So I've talked about this a lot on stream. This is the book I'm writing. It will be out whenever I damn please, or whenever I get to it. And with Max, he's going to be my fitness writing coach, and he will force me to delete a video off my channel if I or just at least
now I want you to mess up.
Yeah. Well, now I won't.
Yeah, please just keep the deadlines. Oh, I will not feel good if you have to delete a video.
Yeah, but specifically
this chat is interesting. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, do we have chat?
Eltham is a district of southeast London, England, within the Royal Borough of Greenwich. It is 8.7 miles east-southwest of Charing Cross and is identified in the London Plan as one of 35 major centers in Greater London.
Interesting.
Yeah, actually, I found that out yesterday. That says Eltham. That says Eltham.
Yeah.
I just included an E, much like your parents did when they took the perfectly respectable name of Brendan with an A and just subbed it out for an E.
No, it's spelled with an A. Brendan.
No, don't you spell it with an E?
One E and one A.
No, two E's. How do you spell your name? It's with two E's. Right?
No.
It's one.
Have I been spelling your name wrong?
Somebody misspelled it in chat.
It is with an A.
But then there's also some people that
In my phone, you have 2 E's. I've been spelling your name wrong forever.
To be fair, I haven't changed your contact since you put it in. It's still Sebastian exclamation point.
I have that in my contacts. That's more of a joke now because I used to not know how to spell.
You changed it to Elthem. I will never forgive you.
Anyways, don't worry, I won't.
Anyways, so, okay, back on topic. Isolation. So, what I want to highlight is, in the future, there will be no physical school. No physical schooling at all. That's not even just a scientific thing. That's not the sci-fi. That's not fantasy. That's going to be real life. At a certain point in our future, we will not have to go to school. We'll just get our education, like, virtually. And we kind of see that now. Like, we're having virtual education and stuff, and I'm like learning as much as I kind of did in school. There's like obviously the lack of collaboration, but in Eltham, obviously it's like around 200 years in the future, and there is no physical schooling. The teenager in the story, he does all his work on the computer, right? But also, what I want to highlight is that in Eltham, there's a lot of VR stuff. Like, we have a lot of virtual reality stuff now. It's getting improved. We're getting more and more. Half-Life Alyx came out a little bit ago, and that's the best VR game.
It's a crazy game, though.
Yeah, it's the best VR game that's ever been created. And because the graphics are insane, it can run 60 FPS. It's like crazy. And the character who has the virtual schooling, his dad really likes like VR, and basically what he does is he lives in just one room. He doesn't leave that one room because he literally doesn't need to, because he does all of his work on VR and then he just like games, right? But he also has like a food chute, basically. Like, you can just order food in the future, and he also has CO2 scrubbers, so he has like oxygen, some clean oxygen, and he has a bathroom that connects to his room. So literally, he does not have to leave his room ever, you know? And it's interesting because we've compared the future of humans a lot to the people from Wall-E. You know how they just go around in their chair and they just like zip around, you know? But can your chair do that? But anyways,
no, I'm in a solid plastic chair.
I am in a solid metal chair. I will still attempt.
You hear the screeching of tortured metal.
You see the end of Goodnight Girl.
Yeah. But
my
anyways,
version, of course, the better version, the one with 1,400 views.
Of course. But his dad just doesn't need to leave that room. He has water, food, and he does everything on the VR headset. So, contrast to the Wall-E thing, Eltham is a planet-wide city, right? They're like around 75% of the planet is covered by city, right? The rest of it is lakes and some crops, you know. So you would think that the streets would be full and bustling and all of that, and some streets are, but a lot of them are pretty empty because you can do everything from your house, from your apartment, you know, and that's what most of the buildings are. They're just apartments. And, you know, there's like the entire building's dedicated to just servers, like that run the entire net of Eltham, you know, which is the internet, but they call it the net, you know. And they have like servers that interact with Earth as well, and, you know, stuff like that. But honestly, our future is looking more and more like it's going to be isolation, but isolation by a choice.
Yeah, and the question is, the better VR gets, eventually there might be a point where it's like no longer isolation, you know?
Yeah, Ready Player One type stuff.
Yeah,
we're just like, I'm going in.
Yeah, if you're able to get
this is actually pretty comfortable.
If you're able to like fully simulate,
making me uncomfortable,
sensory stimulus, right? Like at a certain point, right? It's not even about like having good headphones. Eventually, it's just like, drilling into like your cochlear nerves and like tapping the audio that
Oh yeah.
directly. Imagine like surgeries, you could, like tap into your you could tap into the what is it, occipital nerves and like
Which one?
your eyes,
Your
optic nerves.
optic nerves. That's it. I could not. I could not
You're
remember.
asking
Yeah, whatever.
left or right? Left or right eye?
The brain works on electricity, so you could surgically add a ton of electrical inputs, right? And so with the flip of a switch, it like turns off your eyes, your ears, and everything, and then turns on the virtual reality experience. And then you're just living life as much as you would be as a real person. It's like, what? It's like, what? Yeah, I know. I've got the Bernie Sanders hands. And the economy and blah blah blah. But yeah, I think that would be pretty cool as a thing that you could do to have like virtual reality. That would be that good. I think that would be pretty cool. I would like to see that in the near future. In like 20 years from now, I think that would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, no, VR is going to be a booming industry. It already is, but it's going to get way more prevalent because people are going to realize that you can do work on your VR. Like that, the thing we had a stream or 2 streams ago where the guy was just booted into the VR, just doing the surgery.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's real. That's really real.
Yeah. So this is an interesting way. I mean, people always say, like it's a boomer thing when they say like everyone's on their phones. Well, it's called social media, but everyone's become less connected and like stupid, like kind of like saying like that.
Snorefest, boomer.
But there is some truth to sayings. They're just very cliche and annoying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can phrase them in a better way and say scientifically. This is the way we interact online and decrease physical interactions has actually made people more isolated. Rates of like self-reported like loneliness, people being like, I am lonely, that has increased as the internet has increased in popularity. And as that continues to develop in the future in VR, that might be a serious societal problem that we'll have to deal with. But I don't know. I kind of just see the upside of it. So yeah, good and bad. Good and bad. All right.
So next up, we got Interplanetary Travel.
Interplanetary Travel. Interplanetary Travel, I mean, that's the purpose of the Mars 500 mission, the High Seas mission, and that is to test out what it would be like to travel to Mars. And, Mars, it could also be Venus, Mercury, the Galilean moons, Titan, all that good stuff, right?
Yeah.
Pluto, you can go as far as Pluto.
Pluto is not a planet.
Yeah.
Neither are the moons, but
let's have a discussion about this one.
Just because it's not a planet, I would actually say Pluto would be a pretty cool place to go.
Ooh.
You could do on Pluto. You could build a space elevator that starts on the ground on Pluto, goes up, and then comes back down on the ground on Pluto's Charon. So you could tie 2 like massive like bodies together, like these dwarf planets. You can tie them together practically with a string. You know what I mean? I think that fact. And it's one of the only places that can do it because it's a binary system and both objects are tidally locked to each other. I would totally visit that. Pluto, Charon, space elevator. I would totally do a tour of that. I would like.
Yeah. So, going back to Elthem.
Yeah.
No, you don't need to. No, you don't need. I'm just saying, going back to talking about Elthem.
Okay.
Interplanetary travel is a big thing because you kind of have to imagine Elthem as this big booming planet. It's got all this industry and stuff, so it's kind of like New York or like Beijing, if they were like freer, and like how a lot of planes need to go in and out of New York and Beijing. My desktop just scared the hell out of me. But they need to go back and forth. So obviously they have like speed of light technology and all that. So they need to go back and forth through these planets on like a business schedule, you know?
Uh-huh.
So there's a lot of that, but there's also the way they get around the city is with high powered like planes, but they're more like jets, ships, you know, spaceships, that kind of stuff.
The suborbital flights Max has in his books.
Yeah, kind of. They're under
They're under
lower or low Elthem orbit, I guess. But yeah. Just travel is going to be a big thing, and we're going to need, like, obviously the demand would cause some innovations to be made. So the more people demand, the more demand there is from people to go from planet to planet, the better we're going to see the systems get, and the faster we're going to see ships get, and the more ships are going to be produced and all that. So it's just going to get better and better, and I'm looking forward to it. I like ships. I like space. What's the combination? Spaceship.
Yeah, no, I would say definitely.
I'm guilty.
The first interplanetary flights, right? And early interplanetary travel will not be for like the faint of heart, because it will take months to get to be.
I am not the faint of heart.
And you'll have to be like trapped on this tiny ship with like, actually, it's a pretty big ship, but I bet after you've been on it for 100 days, you're gonna think it's tiny, right? And like with all these people, and like you're stuck, and you're like, I'm going crazy here, right? So
you really do be like Baba Booey.
It'll be difficult at first. I mean, you'll be stuck with the same group of people. There will have to be intense psychological surveys where they make sure, like, okay, let's try not to accidentally put like X's, right, on the same ship. Imagine you apply to go interplanetary flight, you want to go to Mars, and then your ex-wife.
Your ex shows up and like, you gotta be kidding me.
I heard, you know what I heard?
I got a joke after you do your bit, but I got a joke.
I was going to say, I heard I'm more feminine
than your first girlfriend?
Yeah, that's what I heard once.
It's not hard.
So we don't have to pretend.
But here's my joke.
Okay.
As we get the meeting timer.
It means it's time to stop.
You get on the spaceship, right? The space shuttle, and your ex-wife is there. You're both staring at each other, and you're like, "Well, you said you needed space."
Yep.
How do I leave?
Get ejected from the airlock mid-flight. Everyone.
I have a terminal disease.
Murder on the Earth Mars flight. But yeah, so even once like initial colonization has like passed, you know, even when there's like hundreds of thousands of people on Mars, the trips to Mars will still likely take many months, and that means that we will need to make sure that there are some psychological profiles, even when like you could just buy a ticket to Mars. I mean, for a heavy price, but like still, it's not like you have to be an intense government like NASA training program or whatever. Like any person, if they really set their mind to it, could go to Mars. It'll still take 8 months. So there's gonna have to be a lot of like background checks and stuff. But
8 months is actually such a long time when you think about it. Like always in books, it's like, yeah, so they're in there for like a few days, and you're like, oh yeah, that's a really long time. Like I'm talking about getting to the moon here. Think about where you're sitting right now. Imagine there's two people right next to you, and you literally cannot move for 3 days.
Dude, that would suck.
Oh my god.
Gravity Max live stream Apollo mission simulation.
Oh my god.
Hey, listen, I did it for 12 hours. Okay.
Not gonna do it again.
Well,
1,024 subs. 1,024.
No. 1,024 will be.
We strap ourselves to
a rocket and we go to Mars.
We need more. We need more.
No. We just strap ourselves to the top of like someone's car and we put a brick on the accelerator and we just go.
Okay.
We go off a ramp and just
like the deserts. Anyways,
we could rent the Sahara.
Oh yeah, so yeah, rent this. Okay.
What is it, like $5 an hour?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Anyways, once we get flip and burn, which will likely be many decades after Mars is initially colonized, that'll just be a few days, maybe like a week. So that would become more akin to like a cruise. You know, I think that would be pretty fun. You know,
Lavish.
style to Mars. You know, you take a 1 week cruise to Mars. You have
There's a lot of that in Eltham as well,
Yeah,
like
that's true.
cruise lines to other planets.
Yeah, I have that kind of in my second book at the beginning of it, where she's like,
I've been on a plane
like,
before.
It's like a cruise ship. It's like a cruise ship. So it's pretty cool. You know, it would be like. So if you have ever been on a cruise, I've never been on a cruise. I don't know what it's
I've never been on a cruise. Sebastian,
very fun.
Yeah,
have you been on a cruise?
I've been on 3 cruises actually.
Wow,
Who asked? All right. Wow. Just gotta literally. Who asked?
We have enough cruises for all 3 of us. Come on.
Share them, Seb. Come on, bro.
I have some strange stories from those cruises that I'll tell you guys off stream.
I'm so.
But anyways, yeah.
Actually, no. Here you go. I saw a supply launch from Cape Canaveral.
Oh yeah.
As I was on a cruise in a hot tub,
Cool.
drinking my
pretty
drink. Seeing a rocket go up while you're in a hot tub on a cruise with a drink in your hand, I felt like the king of the world.
You have like a ginger ale or something?
Yeah.
Ginger ale.
Yeah,
I don't drink. Everyone knows I don't drink.
Could you imagine like Norwegian epic Earth to Mars?
Yeah, that was the cruise ship I was on.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh,
it was the breakaway. It was a Norwegian breakaway.
Yeah, Norwegian epic, 4 days Earth to Mars. Live it up, best amenities, $50 Wi-Fi, right? Super expensive everything. But you get to Mars, so that would be interesting. And that's the fastest theoretically we could ever go from Earth to Mars because humans can't handle much more than 1 mode of acceleration. So you couldn't just get like a 2-hour flight to Mars. Otherwise, you would be pressed to your seat. You'd be dead. You would need some sort of like,
You'd become soup. You would become the true Gravity Max.
We would need wormhole portals, some sort of space if you wanted to go faster. Or theoretically, if you wanted to go faster, if you uploaded your mind, right?
I can barely hear you.
If you were technologically immortal, right? If you were living on a computer, you could just transmit yourself as a data stream and it would take you 20 minutes tops. So you could get minimum flight time to Mars as a technologically immortal being. So that would actually be cool.
Sorry, I just heard my parents talking about me dying and I realized it was about my hair about 5 sentences later.
Oh, okay.
A little confused there.
Anyways, yeah, that's Interplanetary Travel, so that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Next up, we have Interstellar Travel. Interstellar Travel
they made a
is
movie
like
about Interstellar.
Wait, we have 4 minutes left, so shall we do the thing? Let's do the thing.
This is what time is it? 6:53.
Do you need to dip for dinner?
No, I'm winding down. I'm gonna push it as far as I can, but you may have noticed an increase in background sound from my mic.
Yeah, you having noise for dinner? Because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like you're having noise.
You know how I'm pretty loud?
You're a pretty loud guy.
I'm the quiet one in my family. So
yeah, Brendan, just hit mute while you're not talking.
That's what I've been doing.
Okay, we will reconvene in a moment. All right, so
that would
So okay. So I was talking a bit.
Listen, boys, I am miserable. This woodpecker is going at it for the past probably minute. It is just nonstop. He or she or they or them has not stopped, and it's just so horrendous. It's awful. I'm miserable. I live a hardship.
Wow.
Thank you for coming to my.
Anyways, Interstellar Travel, guys.
Yeah,
So it's when you move fast through space, like that.
Yeah.
The woodpecker has moved at interstellar speeds just to get to Brendan's. He's gonna kill it. He's going outside, and he's gonna hunt it down.
Yeah.
But anyways, interstellar travel. Another thing, same thing with interplanetary travel. When the need for interstellar travel arises, for like either deep space missions or if we do settle like a colony pretty far away, we're gonna need to be getting there, So the more need there is, the more improved it's going to get, and especially with interstellar things, because it's such a vast distance, you're going to need fast things, So that's without the help of the tetrafant. That might be how we achieve close to light speed stuff.
Yeah, I was actually talking about that. So, nearest star Alpha Centauri, 4.2 light years away. So that's the theoretical maximum speed. But they're also that's the shortest amount of time it could take, to get to Alpha Centauri, 4.2 years. But you also have to keep in mind the acceleration period. They always in Star Wars, they're like, all right, go to light speed. And they're in light speed. They should be like, a fine puree, right? So it takes about a year to accelerate up to light speed. And of course, you never actually get to light speed. You approach light speed. It's asymptotic. And then you also need to decelerate. So it would end up taking 6 years to get to Alpha Centauri. But then you also have to factor in time dilation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And time dilation from inside the ship, it might feel like 2-ish years. So there's so many different values. And of course, if you're a technologically immortal being, right, it would still take you 4.2 years to get to Alpha Centauri. Yeah. And this is all assuming no warp drive, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
No.
We're going warp 13, which is not 13 times the speed of light. It's 26 times.
One more than 12 and one less than 14.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, so think about this.
Plus 6.
Interstellar travel. This is isolation to the extreme, to the point where maybe it's not even isolation anymore, because there's the idea of generation ships, and these move slowly through space, and it could take a few generations to get there. So this is assuming no extreme medical advances, but extreme space advances, which I see as highly unlikely because I feel like if we are going to be capable of sending something to another star, we're probably going to have pretty good medical technology, right? But generation ships are popular in media. They're a concept that have been explored a lot. And yeah, so you have a community, maybe a few thousand people, 10,000 people, all on a ship the size of a small town. And then they never actually get to the next star. They have kids. Their kids live on the ship, have kids and die, and then grandkids, blah, blah, blah. And then maybe their great grandkids get to the other star. And that's just kind of crazy. That is crazy isolation. That's there's no precedent for that. You have no access to the wider world other than communications with Earth, which would take many years to go there and get back while you're in transit. So it would just be generally a bad time, I think. I would not sign up for a generation ship. That's not something I would do.
Yeah.
You're dooming your descendants to live a life entirely trapped on this ship, we need I acknowledge the fact that you can't necessarily have interstellar travel be just gonna take a few days because that's just not possible. But a few years, that's possible, you know. So yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's kind of it. It would be crazy.
Yeah.
Like an isolated community. I mean, you would probably get things like Lord of the Flies. You know, like what if there's a mutiny? What can you do when you're
Right.
when your generation your generation ship that you sent to Alpha Centauri, when there's a hostile coup, like 75 years into the mission, and they're like 3 light years from home? What do? Do you send a military force? And then their grandkids are entirely unmotivated and untrained to deal with the issue once they catch up and rendezvous with like, it just doesn't work.
Oh.
Think about that. That would be so funny.
Like, it just can't.
But think about, like, you get born on the ship. You're like, well, this is my life.
Mm-hmm.
Your entire purpose. We're going back to primates. Your entire purpose is to reproduce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I don't think this would pass many committees. You know?
Your odds are looking pretty low as of current standings.
Yeah, it's like I don't see this happening. I don't see generation ships happening. If we want to have a manned mission to another planet or another star system, I'd say at most it would take a few decades. Like once we get down to say like 30 or 40 years to Alpha Centauri, there might be some strapping young lads that sign up for the mission that are up to the task. Some like 20-year-olds, they get there when they're like 60. And they're like, we are populating Alpha Centauri. And then everyone's like, yay. And that is free of immorality, I suppose, you know, because they agree to it. But you really can't do anything longer than that with a clear conscience, because then you're having kids that are forced to live and die on a ship without ever being asked.
An interesting thing with the Alpha one would be after they got there, we wouldn't know for like quite a while.
Yeah, we wouldn't know for 4 years. They would be there. They could have like crash landed.
Did they do it? The world may never know.
What if they get to Alpha Centauri and you just get one message 4 years later? H. You say, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
H.
And then it takes 8 years for your message to get to them, 8 years to get back.
A.
No. Oh, that's the leading theory.
Yep. Anyways,
I wonder if it's just in response to a joke that we made, and he's just like, "Ha!" But it's like so, like spread out.
This guy would probably have to be in the Oort cloud, like 3.5 light years away, right? No, there would be instant response because that 8 is pretty. Anyways, so let's see.
What did that? Was that bass boosted?
Yeah, it was. That is like the exact. Like that one had the exact same pitch, depth, and.
My mic. I went.
I'm gonna make that like the sound effect whenever you text me. Just gonna be moo.
So here's another.
Leave my house.
Yeah.
Here's another interstellar travel possibility, right? So I was mentioning technological immortality, right? So let's say that everybody shifts to technological immortality and there aren't any like biological organisms anymore. Maybe there are some like animals for study purposes. Right? Like people might not care anymore at that point. You know, everyone is a computer. The interesting thing is we could run more efficient simulations at say like 1,000 to 1 or 1,000,000 to 1. So every like in reality, but there is no reality anymore. If everyone's living on a computer, right, in servers, is reality really reality anymore? You know what I mean? Like if everyone is experiencing one thing, that's reality. And the outside world is like not. It's interesting. It's ethical, like it's philosophers will have millennia to debate about this, right? But if you think about it, right, you could have a simulation and where everyone's living so that every second that passes, like 16 minutes pass. That would be 1,000,000 to 1. So
Crazy.
a day passes and 1,000,000 days pass. Like you live for
Losing my mind.
a year of time on your computer server, and then 1,000,000 years pass in the real world, right?
Yeah.
If that's how everyone's like doing things, then interstellar travel wouldn't become as like arduous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if everyone's perception of time is 1,000,000 times slower, then 4.2 years in reality would be 4.2 millionths of a year. And so it would be like you just got there in like a couple hours, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it depends on rates of time. Because also if we like draw everything in as well using megastructures like Shikhatov thrusters. Have you heard of that? Shikhatov thrusters?
I've not.
So it's where you reflect. It's like you build half a Dyson sphere, right?
Yeah.
And the entire purpose of that Dyson sphere is to point light in one direction. So the star, all light is moving in one direction. And since light has momentum, and momentum must be conserved, you know, laws of physics, right?
The bird
star
has
will
been
end up
taken care of.
in the other direction using solely its light and say solar wind as an engine. It's called a stellar engine. And so you can actually move stars closer to each other using Chicago thrusters. And you can bring things closer together. But of course, that would take mega anoms, giga anoms, tera anoms.
At least 5.
Yeah, it would take
by my calculations.
Yeah. So interstellar travel is going to be something with isolation, and especially so here, the psychology is important, you know, because if you're going to be on a ship with someone for like 2 years, it's going to be crazy. You know?
I'm just calculating that real quick. I'm just checking Brendan's math real quick.
Okay.
It was either 3 or 4. I wasn't sure.
I don't know if you can see that, but beef.
Oh, the lunch meat?
Right.
Yeah, the lunch meat.
Yeah.
Beef the lunch meat.
Oh, no.
If I ever have control over food, I am making beef served at lunch.
I think my dad pronounces GIF as GIF, and I almost like lost it. I almost like
at that point you're just wrong.
Yeah, and he works in IT. I don't know if he was joking, but like I might act out. The house may not survive the night.
You're gonna get an ear piercing. You're gonna dye your
yeah.
black.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna get a liberal arts degree. I hope we can make that joke.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not a face. But anyways, yeah.
Let's talk about time ramping.
Yes, time ramping.
So
we were kind of
the thing on the left. Yeah.
When I was talking about the 1,000,000 to 1, imagine
it looks like an inhaler.
Imagine the opposite. Yeah. But anyway.
So the thing on the left is from one of my favorite movies, Judge Dredd, and that is the drug slow-mo, and I think that's what it's called in the movie. Basically what it does is it alters your perception of time so that, I don't know what the scale was, but it made things seem pretty slow, you know. And the reason we have a prisoner next to that is because it's been postulated that time ramping drugs such as like slow-mo or something like that could be used to punish prisoners, because effectively you can, if someone has committed a terrible crime and you pump them full of enough time.
Gentlemen, I must bid you farewell.
All right, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for being on the show.
If you guys are still going in like an hour or an hour and a half,
we will not be. We will not.
I'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah.
If not, you know where to find me in chips.
It's been nice to have you on the show. Thank you for coming.
I want to thank the other special guest, the Woodpecker, for joining me for the entire time I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
It really did enhance my experience, but now I do have to bid adieu.
All right. Yeah. See you around. You know, or not really around. All right.
There goes my hero. Anyways,
the stream is surviving. Okay, the stream's fine. Cool.
It's stream fine.
I just wanted to make sure things didn't become very wonky looking once like it went from 4 to 3 people. But yeah, you can continue it.
Yeah. So if you pump a prisoner full of enough time altering drugs, you can in 8 hours, you can make it feel. They would feel like they had just served a 1,000 like year sentence or something. That's like extreme. But if someone has committed like some terrible crime, and and the sentence is like 30 years, but they're like old, and they're like 80, so they realistically don't have 30 years to live. You pump them full of this in just 5 days. You make it feel like they just served 30 years,
Now that's interesting, because people will, like, horrible, like, murderers will end up with like 10 life sentences or something. And
and you could feasibly make them serve 10 life sentences,
Yeah, the question, that's an interesting one. The ethics committee would not be happy, I don't think.
The lab boys.
No, because it's a question of, like, what do we value in, like, justice? Is it punishment? But, like, the people that say, like, we shouldn't just be valuing punishment at the same time, you could argue it's like a deterrent or something.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, if you know that you are going to serve that long, it might, like, convince people not to commit crimes because they're scared. But I'm pretty sure that, like, that would have to be studied, because there have been a lot of, like, for instance, like, drug-related offenses are often, like, they have a mandatory minimum of like 5 years or something, depending on the drug, and just like for possessing it or something. I don't know a lot about the legal codes. I'm more into science than law, but I know that there have been some detractors because they've been saying we still have a drug problem as a country. Clearly, having this, like, tough on drugs, mandatory minimum stuff isn't helping. And then they say, like, look at, like, Sweden or Portugal or something, where they institute, like, a rehabilitation program for, like, drug addicts instead of a punishment program, and, like, drug rates have decreased because of that. So then they say, well, why don't we do that? And it's just like a big, and then it gets into politics. But I could definitely see this being studied. I don't know, like, the ethics of it. I would probably, based on, like, how crime works, I imagine that it wouldn't work very well as a deterrent. I don't know. I think that already, like, if punishment as a deterrent, like, worked as well. I mean, obviously, punishment as it, like.
Well, I mean, if they made it crazy, if they made it literally crazy, like 100 years, if they made it, you feel like you served 100 years, like the ethics boys would not allow that to happen, or boys and girls, but would not allow that to happen. But yeah, that would be a deterrent. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because I do think, obviously, there's, like, you don't want anarchy. So that's why it does work to a certain degree as a deterrent, because, it's not just the purge 24/7. But the question of, like, would this lower crime rates in the future if this were introduced? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting, because I was watching, like, Death Note recently.
Oh, yeah, I just watched another episode today, actually.
Yeah, and how they say that because of Kira and, like, killing, like, criminals with the Death Note, it has caused, by the end of the show, a 70% reduction in violent crime worldwide, and, like, the end to all wars and stuff. And I'm like, what's the ethics on that?
Yeah, that was my only issue with Matt Pat's thing on that, because he was like, is Kira a good guy or a bad guy? And then he takes his, like, saved lives versus how many people he's killed, right? But you can't actually calculate how many lives he's actually saved if he's decreased crime by 70%.
Yeah,
like, I don't know what percent of crime is violent crime.
Yeah,
like murder and the such, but I don't know.
Well, I think he said, like, the homicide rate or something.
Maybe, I don't know. I have to rewatch that, but
yeah, I don't know. But then it's like a
very hard
to calculate.
Yeah,
and I don't know. But yeah, time ramping as, like, a deterrent punishment type thing.
Yeah, we don't know how effective it would be. It would just have to be put into practice or like tested, stuff like that.
Because then the question is, it could also be offered as like a mercy option. Because imagine this, right? You're handed a 5-year offense. That would be like economic ruin, right? Because you would be out of work for 5 years. You'd have a 5-year like hole in your resume. That's often a problem for like ex-convicts and like finding a job. Obviously, just being an ex-convict like shows up on the job applications, but it's also this large gap where you can't be working, like all your financial resources are gone. So imagine if you get handed a 5-year sentence and you're like, please, I couldn't handle that, like I couldn't financially recover from that. So then you like they say, okay, you can do it time ramped, and then right, you're charged, and like you're out of work for a week, and then you come strolling in on Monday like, hey, I'm psychologically traumatized from 5 years of like time ramping isolation, but I'm back and I'm ready to work and I haven't been fired unless I am fired because the boss doesn't like what I've done. But you know what I mean. This could be offered as like an option, and then like I could see people getting mad at like criminals are getting out too soon. Like say there could be something where like embezzlements, like like top exec at like some like company has been embezzling and they're given a like lofty sentence, and then because they're like well connected or whatever, they get handed a time ramped sentence, and then they're out in like a week, and then they're like able to just like get back to their mansions and whatever, and then everyone's like grumble. So so the summary is, I could see people both being mad that this is too severe and being mad that this is too lenient, which is easy.
I think it's a great way to put it.
Yeah, because if you were given like a 5-year sentence and it's like, but you could serve it all in like one night and then get back to society the next day, would you do it?
I mean, yeah, because I guess that's the thing. Because if you were like, if I did something and it was down the road in the future, I committed some crime while I was like 50, 55, and I was given like a 10 to 15 year sentence. Realistically, by the time I get out of jail, like my parents could have died, so after, if I was able to time ramp it, I would be able to like go back and like, actually spend time with my family.
Exactly. Yeah, I have the same philosophy. I mean, it's just life extension. Imagine how many books I could write under time ramping. If I had 5 years time ramping in one night and I had nothing else.
You don't do things faster. That's the thing. Okay. You don't do things like if you were typing, you would type like this, so it doesn't make you faster.
It doesn't make you faster. It just like, okay. Well, in that case, then yeah, it wouldn't be very good. But I think it would still be better than just like general.
No, honestly, if they did like the 8 hours to 10 years thing, you wouldn't even be able to move.
Yeah.
Because you would try and move your arm and it would like barely go,
I could see this thing being used as like a drug, like Adderall or something, where people are like, oh, take a hit of the time ramp, whatever. And it's like a lighter form, and it like say is a 5-to-1 thing. So you still are actually able to like do things, because if you're just 5 times faster than normal, you could probably type 5 times faster. It's just that you're not thinking about things that quickly. Like the limiting factor to writing for me is like thinking rather than typing. So if you were thinking 5 times faster and you were typing at the same rate, you would still probably like get a lot more done. So people would be like, yo, like I have a major term paper due at 11:59 p.m. and it's 11 and it's like 20 pages and I haven't written any of it. And they're like, yo, I got you. Take this time ramping inhaler. And then you like do that
slow-mo.
And then you have like 6 hours or whatever to like do your term paper. Like it's whatever. So there are many factors to this. And then there's ways that it could be done digitally, right? Because instead of like a time ramping drug, it could just be like you're put onto a faster server, right? If you are technologically immortal and you are a mind living in a server, then you could get a ton of books. I could get a ton of books done, right? By just thinking, right? And yeah, so it's an interesting thing. If people are like immortal, pretty much, I could see like the opposite of time ramping being used as a punishment, like time slowing. Like you are sentenced to 1 year, but once that year is over, like 1,000 years will have passed, and like that's the punishment because like things will have changed. So like people will have forgotten about you.
Yeah.
Like even if everyone's immortal, they'll be like, yeah, okay, who's that guy? Oh yeah, like 1,000 years ago. I don't remember you. So yeah, law and order and punishments will be interesting in the future. I don't know. I could see this as like a very dystopian thing.
Yeah.
Enhanced interrogation.
Ooh.
Enhanced interrogation. Every day that you don't like tell us what this conspiracy plot is, you will have to live through 1,000 years of pure boredom.
That's crazy.
I mean, right? That would be bad. And then like political dissenters and like dystopian governments could be like this is your torture, like you must confess. I mean, we already have a problem of false confessions. You've heard about that, right?
Yeah.
Where like people end up confessing to crimes they don't commit because they think it'll be like better for them than if they have to go through a lengthy trial. And like if they are proven guilty, even if they know that they didn't do it, it will be worse than for them if they're just lenient and like they just confess to it. It'll be so much easier. Like that's already a problem. Could you imagine if this was like a thing that could be done? There would totally be a ton of scandals where like a police department gets like charged with like using this time ramping drug on like people that they arrest. So yeah, very, very interesting. I like to say with most technologies, I like to say like, oh, I'm optimistic. This will be used for good. But I feel like I see a lot more bad that could be done with this than good. Personally, I do like the digital version though. Of like, if you are a mind on a computer, then you can run at different rates. I see that as fine. But making this a drug in the actual world, like in the physical world of biology, I don't know. I don't see it as ending very well. You know?
Yeah. I think we can head over to the next thing now.
All right. Oh yes, combating isolation. We've kind of been.
So yeah, we have we have Yui Films here. Shaving his head, as I'm sure you all saw. He has a mohawk now, and he bleached it. Yeah, entertaining. That is Maxcraft, which is the best Minecraft series that's ongoing on YouTube, so you should check it out.
I wouldn't say ongoing. I've kind of stopped because I don't think people are that into it, but
I'm into it.
A few episodes.
I'm into it.
You're into it?
I'm into it.
I don't know. I need I just need to justify it. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. But then you have my World War II video, which I put a lot of work into. It's probably, I think it might be the most work I ever put into a video.
Nice.
But just because I faced a lot of issues with it, like weird audio issues. But the main reason that this is here is because this is the way that we combat isolation. We
and of course, work. The Gravity Max live stream probably over 70 hours now if you want to watch that.
Yeah. Honestly, but working, like Max has said through this entire live stream, production is the cure to isolation. The cure to boredom of isolation is production, So Yui Films shaves his head for a video. I put a lot of work into a video. Max plays Minecraft, but which he's bad at, so that's a lot of effort. So that's effort. That is absolute effort. Yeah. But honestly, what it comes down to is you got to keep your mind going. Whether it's production, creation, or education, you got to keep your mind going. you know. So that's why all of our channels are, well, yeah, like the Gravity Max live stream is great to watch. You know, UE Films is obviously great to watch, even though it's just entertainment. You don't really learn anything. My channel, you learn everything in under 128 seconds.
Yeah.
How many videos do I have out? What's my total number of seconds?
Oh yeah, you the total number of seconds. You got to make like a playlist of a ton of videos, and the playlist should just be called X seconds.
X seconds, yeah.
But yeah, totally. And if we have any fans out there that like we've inspired to create,
I have 29 subs. Someone subbed.
Wow, someone did it.
So I hit UE Films' I hit his limit. I am now a celebrity.
Nice. But yeah, if we have anybody that like is inspired by us to start a YouTube channel of their own and like make interesting content, or inspired to write a book and self-publish it on Amazon or something like that, we will totally like shout you out, you know? Just like tell us if we've like inspired you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because that makes us very happy. And like I would totally love to hear some like success stories. And I would like to have you on stream. You know, it's always great like to hear from people that like have YouTube channels or have written.
Yeah.
It'll be great. So yeah, definitely. Main takeaway of this episode should be start a personal project, whatever it is. Just make a composition of music, right? Right? Like I've got some compositions. Like I don't do it a lot, but sometimes I feel like in a musical mood and I get like that.
Yeah. I have 1,280 published seconds.
Nice.
I unlisted my 3 live streams and Heisenberg Uncertainty, but I have 10 published videos.
Nice.
That are available.
That's pretty cool.
Another one coming at you every Wednesday. But anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Max put it perfectly, you know. Start a personal project. Become invested in something, because like you said, when you get hooked on something, then that's it. That you're done. The brunt of the work is over, because I guess this is also final thoughts as well, kind of.
Oh yeah, we'll go into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of people, they like to say, I love my work, so it's not work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was saying that. I actually just said that earlier when I was talking with people. I've asked adults for their advice on life. I've asked old people, elders, for their advice on life. I've asked my parents. I've asked other people's parents. I've asked strangers, about their advice on life. And the most, like, clear winner over any other thing was love what you do. Love your job, because, if you love your work, you'll never work a day in your life, all that,
Maybe cliche, but, like, things that tend to be cliche tend to be, like, true. It's just annoying that you have to say it so much. That's pretty much how it is, I feel.
Yeah, they're cliches for a reason, But, if you love your work, then that's it. Because you can you don't even have to push yourself. But even if you enjoy pushing yourself, or you just enjoy the process, then you become the best at it, That's how you excel at something. You love it, Like when I started my 128 seconds, it sucked. Heisenberg Uncertainty Principle was like a terrible ass video, But I've gotten better, and I think my World War II video is one of the better ones I've produced. I've gotten better at writing a script. I've gotten better at summarizing stuff, which is my channel. I've gotten better at visuals and stuff like that, and creating my own images, stuff like that. It's just improving, and improvement it's because I like it. It's because I like making my channel, and I like making my videos every Wednesday. I used to do it every 2 weeks. Now I do it every week, and it's because I like it. Yeah.
The same thing applies to me. I started my YouTube channel in November of 2014. I made my first video probably like a few months later, and it's been like 5.5 years, I guess.
The evolution of Gravity Max.
Yes, I started off making comedy videos that weren't funny, which have since been taken down because I don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want that up. I'll wait until like I don't know, I'm like an adult and then do that. I don't care.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to when you're in the education system, you have to have a reputation or whatever, you know. I wonder if the college people, because they always say, like, adults always like to scare you, but it's kind of true. Like, whatever you put on the internet, it's there forever. I wonder if the colleges will sift through 70 hours of Gravity Max live stream, and by the time
more by then
apply hundreds of hours. I really hope they do, because that will give me a lot of watch time.
A lot of watch time, yeah.
So if you are a college employee that has been tasked with sifting through these live streams, hello, we acknowledge that you are here. How's it going?
College FBI agent.
Hello. Yeah. No, but yeah, I love what I do. I've been doing this channel for 5 years. And like most channels, like not most, I would say, but I see a lot of channels that like in a year have like thousands of subs. And I get a little salty when I see that, but I'm like, you know what? I'm just here to have a good time. I like my work. I like doing what I do. And I get enjoyment out of it. So
we have 500 as of this video, 577 subscribers. You know, that's a lot of people. 507. I could not fit 577 people in my house. Yeah. You know, I have 29 subscribers because I gained 2 during. Oh no, I gained 1 because I got 28 a little bit ago. So we have less than 100. Less than 100 officially, 99 to go.
Away to
the milestone. But I would have a hard time even fitting 29 people in my house, you know. I don't know whether that's a reflection of my house or of like subscribers, but like when YouTube started, like the biggest channel for a couple of years had 30,000, and that was insane. The fact that a channel had 30,000 blew people's minds. Now it's over 100 million.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That's great. Yeah. So yeah, we appreciate you guys for being here. And yeah, obviously I love writing as well. I have a ton of I have 5 or 6 stories that are to 40 pages long.
This man sat down and wrote like 49 pages of some random ass story just out of the blue, you know. Just not even connected to his trilogy of books that he has.
The same continuity, I think. Like,
bro, it's just crazy that you can just be dabbling over here and then just whip 180 and smack in 49 pages.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so we're about to run out of Zoom time, and I think it would be inconvenient to start another one.
Yeah.
I will call you for post-stream discussion, just like on the phone. I'll just call you, okay?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so thank you guys all for watching. Thank you guys all for being here. It has been great. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope it helped you combat your isolation and loneliness and everything, the stress that's going on right now. And I hope that you take what we've said today to heart, and I hope you make some sort of personal project. And again, while he's not here, I would like to thank Brendan for being here for the majority of the stream. I would like to thank Sebastian for being my co-host as always.
As always.
And yeah, that's it. Thank you all for watching. We will see you guys on Friday for our review of the first couple episodes.